Hello and welcome back. In this video what we're going to do is I realized that in one of our model classes what we did was we added the ability to soft delete. Soft delete is a functionality, if you're not aware, that allows you to delete something in your database without actually deleting it in your database. Basically you're just setting a Boolean to a row in a database. The problem with that is the way that it currently is in the system, we would have to include that condition in all of our queries that we make to the database if we wanted to exclude soft deleted rows, because they're actually there, so they would show up. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to go back and we're going to update the model class to utilize that soft delete in a better way, so that if we use our find or find first methods, it will actually automatically remove those deleted fields, okay? Or those deleted rows, soft deleted rows. So what we're going to do is open up core and jump down to the model.php. And what we're going to do actually is we need to create a new method that we can use, because what we're going to have to do is set a param that we can add to our find method here and our find first method. See, we pass in params to it, and so we want to make sure that it excludes soft deleted things, okay? So what we're going to do is let's just we'll do it right here above the find and find first. We're going to create a protected function, and we're going to start it with an underscore. And it's going to be called soft delete params, okay? And then we'll pass in the params to it. All right, and so while we're here, I'm just going to explain why we're choosing to use protected. The reason that we're going to use protected and not public is really the only thing that's going to call this function, or I'm sorry, this method, are methods inside of this class. And so we're not actually going to use private because this model class is extended by children. So we create an extended class, so it needs to use protected so that the children can actually access this method. So what we're going to do is we actually don't need to do anything if the function is going to not be soft delete. So if you're not using soft delete in a particular model, then you can just return params, okay? That's the first thing that you can do. So we're going to end, and it's just going to send that params right on through. So right now the function doesn't do anything, so let's make it a little bit smarter, and we're going to add an if statement, and we're going to say if this. Now remember, this was just a Boolean that we added, so it's a property. So if this soft delete, then we're going to do some stuff to these params before we return them. So if we look up at the top, if you remember, we set a param of soft delete, and by default it's set to false. So if you just extend this model with a child class, it's going to have this, and it's going to be set to false, and it's never going to run this stuff in this if statement. However, if you extend it and then you set in the child class soft delete to true, we need to then manipulate these params before they actually get sent to the database call, okay? So what we're going to do is, you guys understand that params comes in, it's an array, and then it has conditions. So we're going to do another if statement here, and we're going to say if array key, so if array key exists, and the key would be conditions. So if that exists in params, then we want to do something. And remember, what we could do is we could actually send that, if conditions doesn't exist, we still need to do something. So let's do that first. So let's say else. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to say params, and we're actually adding a condition here. So we're going to say params conditions is equal to deleted is not equal to 1. Okay, so what's going to happen here is it's going to jump in, it's going to say is this set to soft delete? If it is, yes. And it's going to go in here and say, okay, does conditions exist in the params array? Now remember, you don't have to pass anything into here. So if you don't pass that, if there's no conditions, we still need to make a condition. So we're just adding it right here. So we'll actually add into the params, and I spelled that wrong, conditions, and this will be the condition that's added. Okay? So let's go back up here in this and take care of this if statement now. So we need to know, because remember, conditions can be a string or they can be an array. We did that just to make it a little simpler on ourselves. So we need to check that here. So we're going to say if is array, and what we're checking is params conditions an array. Okay. If it's, we're going to do another else here. If it's not an array, what we want to do is we just want to append. So what this is going to say is, if the conditions that you're passing in the params is a string, then we simply just want to append another parameter onto that string. So what we'll do is we'll say params conditions, okay, and then we're going to use this period equals, and that will concatenate on to the end of the string, and we're going to do a space and deleted does not equal 1. Okay, so that's all we have to do there. And then up here in this if statement, if it is an array, then what we need to just treat it as an array. We're going to say params, I got my caps on, so params conditions, and we're going to add to this array, and what we're going to do is say equals deleted does not equal 1. Okay, I know this is a little convoluted, but this will work here. So let's just go through the logic one more time. If it is a soft delete, it's going to check first if conditions that are sent into params, if that exists. If it doesn't exist, it's just going to create it. If it does exist, it's going to then check if it's an array or not. If it's an array, it needs to add another element to the array. This can be deleted, does not equal to 1. If it is not an array, then we're assuming it's a string, and we're just going to concatenate onto the end of that string and deleted not equal 1. Okay? So here's where the magic happens. Now that we have that function, all we have to do is jump into our find method here, and what we're going to do is right here above results on the top line, we're going to manipulate those params, and we're going to say params equals, and then we're going to call our function this soft delete params, and then we're going to pass those params right into it. Okay, that's all we need to do. So it's going to send the params that are sent to this find method into this function, and then that returns those, and then we're resetting those here. So then those are going to be used in our query. So what it's going to do is it's going to leave out anything in the database that has the deleted column equal to 1. Okay? So we need to also do that for our find first. So params is equal this soft delete params, and we're just going to pass in params. Okay, let's just jump over to our app and make sure it's still working here. We don't have any crazy things going on, but it shouldn't, because we're not actually calling any of this stuff yet. But I hope that makes sense, guys. Let's just go ahead and jump here in the database, and I'm not sure the last time that we looked at this, if in the users table. So I have a deleted column here. I think you guys may as well, but if you don't, the way it works is, see, these are 0 or null, so these would actually be returned. All of these users would be returned, but if one of these got set to 1 in the database, then when we queried this, this is not going to show up if we use the find first or the find method, or if we use anything that uses those methods, because it's going to add to the SQL query, the SQL statement. It's going to add deleted does not equal 1. Okay, so that's how soft deleted works. So all the information is still in the database, so it keeps the integrity of the data and allows you to have the illusion of deleting that data. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. And I think what we're gonna build. Yeah, you know what we'll do in the next video? We're gonna go ahead and create some helper functions to help us with our forms. To speed form creation up, because our CRM that we're going to build, our little contact management app we're building, will make use of forms. So it'd be pretty cool if we had some helper functions that we can use. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.